All right, here we are, part two. We're back. So, you got a little bit of an insight in how the sausage is made. So, usually these videos, I make them live, which means that it's one go, it is what it is. People usually give me feedback when they're live, like, hey, the audio's out or something like that. So, I would have known, I would have stopped. And I also don't watch them after I make them, which is like extra little information for you. If you're like that one, minute when you said this line, you're gonna be like, "What? I don't even know what you're talking about." I'd have to go back and watch things, and so a little bit of insight, a little bit of understanding of like how all this gets played out. And what also happened, and my guess is that the microphone battery died. That happens too. So I'll commit to making sure it's fully charged before we get started. All right, so here we are, part two, and it did actually cut out really at a kind of a good place, going into a little bit deeper into what I had to say, and let's see how it goes. All right, so moving into an area which is often, right now, it's not very popular to talk about, but it is a really important part of what I do and how I show up and who shows up to see me, and that is my commitment to complete inclusivity. DEI, those scary letters. DEI. Yes, DEI. So that's diversity, equity, and inclusion. I welcome clients of all body types. Let's start there. Sometimes people come and they're like, I just don't, they won't say it like this, but they say it indirectly. Like, I don't think I deserve to be cuddled because of my body. Like, either often it's very too big, like I'm too big, or like, that doesn't, like, people don't want to touch me or people don't want to get close to me. And that is oh my goodness, that is horrifying to hear. I can't even imagine a world where someone would have a certain type of body where they didn't deserve touch and care and affection. So that is really important. um, Next area is like people with disabilities. And so I have made my space to be as best as I can. It's not 100% ADA, but like I do what I can do to accommodate people in on wheels, wheelchairs, and like the bathroom is accessible with a wheelchair. I have no steps up into the space, so everything's kind of at an incline, and so yes, I do it the best I can. There are some little bit of things here and there I think that we can work with, but just let me know if that's you. But that's important to me. And another piece about the disabilities is that if you are ADA, I can travel to you without. Also, there's no fee for the travel fee. Oh, well, let me caveat that if you're here in San Antonio, I will not. I can't. Unfortunately, I cannot travel around the world or across the country under that law. But definitely, if you're here, so there's that. Another area is neurodivergence. Now, there's plenty of like neurodiversities I'm sure that I have not seen, and not everyone discloses their neurodivergence to me. So often I don't know, but definitely, like if there's something that you need me to know, like I won't discriminate. I will work with you, and we will kind of work around the areas, the booby traps, let's say, to your neurodiversity. That the parts that are just like maybe make touch really uncomfortable or difficult, let me know, and we can again collaborate. That's at the heart of everything I do. And the last two are the kind of the ones that people often think about, like sexual stuff, like sexual orientation, who you're into. Great. You don't need to be into even. I'm a woman. I'm she, her pronouns. Don't need to be into women to come see me, because the work isn't necessarily, it's not sexual like that. So touch is touch, human touch is human touch. So come and see me. That doesn't matter what your sexual orientation is or your gender expression. I have had clients come in, I guess, cross dressers, like in drag. They may not be able to be that way in the real world and wearing the clothes that would feel the most comfortable for them. So they asked me, may I wear these particular types of clothing items? And I'm like, yeah, let's explore that together. Especially that I live in Texas, it's not always safe to be out there wearing clothing that's outside of the gender norms for your gender. So yeah, sometimes a cuddle session and your full expression of like who you would want to be in the world, that's fantastic. So there is that. Yeah, so connection above all is important to me, and of course, the boundaries that we create together. So that's with the all inclusive. Now, moving into trauma informed approach, I am not a licensed counselor. Sometimes I like to play one on TV. um, there are limitations to what I do, and I do my best to be trauma informed. And so here are some of the just the ideas that for you, if you're wondering like what does that mean, or like how do I will do my best to explain right now. So at the beginning of the session, at the end of the session, all through the session, what I want you to experience is feeling safe, feeling empowered, and in control of your experience with me. I'm just going to put a little side note that I just thought of. Sometimes people ask me, like, cis men, like, do you think that I could do what you do? Could I do professional cuddling like you? And I tell anyone can do this work. That the key here is this. This is really important. That you can create an environment, especially if you're a cis man. This is more of a challenge. That if people feel safe, empowered, and in control. That's really tricky if you're a cis man. Now, if you're like want me to go a little bit deeper into that, I mean, I could in another video. But creating safety, especially if you're planning on working with women, I can say firsthand that I don't always nail it. I don't always get it right. Um, a lot of uh, people that were assigned female at birth, people they were not safe when they were young, when they were children, or even into adulthood, and so touch is not safe. And so, how do you make a space really accessible to someone where they really feel like no surprise? There's not going to be any surprises. There's going to be gentleness. There's going to be kindness, consideration, and they feel empowered. Like not just do they in a passive role feel safe, but they like also can speak up and say, "This is what I want. This is what I don't want." That comes with that's a lot. Um, so creating a place where they can say yes to you or can say no, like they can say no to me, is really important. And it's not often in the first session that can even happen. And lastly, in control. I have met people who are like, I could never do what you do, or I could never like go to a cuddler because I don't want to be touched. And often when I hear I don't want to be touched, I don't like touch. It's often because at some point in their life they were touched and it was not within their control. They didn't have any say in the matter. There was no consent or choice, and it was like thrusted upon them. So that's what we're trying to avoid. That's a lot right there. That's all. If you can just do that, that's incredible. So let's break it down a little bit more. So like safety and predictability, a space where you can relax and feel at ease. And that's why the space that I've created here, I do that as best as I can. People walk in, they like, oh, like I feel at home. I feel relaxed. Um, and that they feel secure, like they know where the exits are. They know, where everything's at. They know where the bathroom is. They know they can leave at any time. Nothing is keeping them trapped in there. And I would say the other thing is choice as well and control. Um, so I only do the things that I feel comfortable doing, and that's important for people to know that like they feel safe because I'm also taking care of myself, and they are empowered to do the same. So we both need to feel comfortable at all times. What's happening, but sometimes oftentimes it begins with me too, like that I'm not doing anything that's uncomfortable, and that yeah, they can have that as well. Like I model to them what I hope that they can do for me, like do with me. So the other part of being trauma informed is it's collaborative. Just not. Sometimes clients will ask me like, "Hey, can you guide the session? Can you be the one that like takes me through all the things?" And that's asked for. But most, lots of sessions there's a mutual exchange. So it's even if like let's say I do guide the session, it's not just one sided. We are both like giving and receiving in that space. So let me think. So I do, not everybody wants to touch me in return, but like that's possible. Like we are creating this together, this experience. So if it's not working for you, I really request that like speak up and tell me what you would like, or how would you like to adjust or shift. Sometimes people can't do that. They can't like actually let me know like this is uncomfortable. I don't like this. But if I know, like, okay, this is going to be an issue, like they may not be able to speak up, then we can set timers too. Like, okay, every 10 minutes I'll set a timer and we'll just stop, create some space, take a deep breath, have you check in, see what's alive. What is it that you want? What's alive? Are you still a yes to this? Are you a no? Like taking the time. But I only know to add that to our session if like we've communicated that there might be some issues around like knowing what somebody might want or not want. So there's a lot of tools that we can use to create that collaboration. And really being upfront and transparent about all this stuff. So again, I ask for you to be transparent with me, and I'll do my best to be transparent with you, talking about boundaries, expectations, and limitations that you might have. And then lastly, that idea of being empowered, it is so important, and a lot of us don't feel really empowered in our bodies and in ourselves and with other people. It's so hard. I mean, so hard is to be when we're by ourselves, to empower ourselves to do something that we might want or not want. But when you're with someone else, this is where we get to practice this and build resiliency. So I want to create a space where you can feel resilient. Like you are your best advocate. You have agency. And finding ways to create that is, again, it's a collaborative effort, but at the end of the day, that's really what we're trying to create. So that when you leave me and you're not with me, you're with someone else, which this is what I hope, that you can find touch and relationships with others that feel meaningful to you. You're able to also say yes or no, have your agency, be empowered, be yourself. So, all right, there's that. Now we're going to go into some privacy and confidentiality. And this one is really tricky because we're living in an age, a digital age, where I can't guarantee privacy 100%. So, one thing is for sure that's private are your names. So, the name you give me, I do need a first and last name because I need to put you in my notes, like when I saw you, and so if I take notes, so like on our screening call, like something I need to have. But then after that, you don't appear like in my contacts. I try to keep you just in a space where it is password protected. And then, yeah, that's about as much as I have on you. And I don't share those names with anybody else. But because, yes, I'm using a phone, I cannot guarantee absolute privacy. And with digital surveillance, it's really tricky. I have an iPhone. There's online data tracking, there's digital storage that makes like full confidentiality really difficult. So I do request that you have discretion in your texting, and I do prefer in-person communication, or yeah, just being thoughtful about all of that. I do at times share client cases with people that are important to me that help support me and help guide me with certain clients that I'm just like, what do I do here now? Like I might bring up stories to support people, and that's helpful, but I don't use names or any identifying information. And I do often, sometimes will share stories about like what it's like to be in a session or like what I've seen in sessions and experiences. And those stories are like accumulation of many different sessions. And so you might think, oh, it sounds like she's talking about our session. And often it's usually I've seen it many different times, and so it's not personal, but that might happen. And I did one time share about a particular client in a session. I'm sorry, of a session in a video, some things that I saw that was really cool, that I thought was awesome, and but they didn't appreciate it, and they asked me to take it down, and I did. So things like that, I'm still also learning, and if I say something that really think that like that was about me, and we can have a conversation about it, and I can honor your request if you want me to remove something. If we have a session and you're like, can you tell everybody about our session because I want everybody to know? Yes, just let me know. I'd love to share. There have been text messages and emails I've gotten that I would love to have shared, and I've asked permission, and I ended up not sharing, but I want to. So also that works the other way around too, without names, naturally. I'm just gonna throw this in there. Just remembered, if you're looking for a free session and you don't mind being in a live video, contact me because that's also a possibility. We can. I still look for live models to show what cuddling is like. So there is that. Now, the next section is on self care and boundaries. Me. It's about me. It's about me. So I do spend a lot of time taking care of myself, and yeah, so I can really show up in my best self. And I have relationships and friends and paramours, being a partner, all of these people in my life that really do support me. So I do see a counselor every week. So I have a really strong support network that makes it possible for when you show up with me that I have a lot to give. And I really do have a lot to give, thanks to like how I take care of myself. Which also means that, as many of you know, I'm really not great with email or text messages. I'm really slow sometimes. And I really take things at my own pace. So sometimes there might be a text message, like a whole group of them that I'll respond to like every other day. It really is just come and go. And sometimes I really feel up to it, and sometimes I really don't. And I'm just taking care of myself. So I ask for your patience. And I'm definitely not chatty in text. People want to like talk with me and like go back and forth, like, how are you? And how, and that is just like, I like schedule a video session or let's schedule a phone call because that means when I can really be present and give you my full attention. So there's that. And I have a shadow area, something that I've been learning about within like the last year. That one of the things that I really, really love is to be taken care of. And just know, like, one of the big ways in which, like, when things are going really hard, people are like, oh, I don't really want to bother you because, like, you really, like, things are going really hard in your life. And I'm like, oh my gosh, no, you don't understand. It's the other way around. I, I need your support. Like, I really want to be taken care of. And one way you all take care of me is when you give me money. When you see my worth and value and like you compensate me for what I do for you. So please, yeah, like it also shows up in other ways. It's a shadow in that sometimes if I'm being taken care of, I might allow things to kind of like slip or whatever, like not stand up for myself sometimes. So like, there's a couple things happening there, like definitely being compensated and receiving, you know, funds for what I do, money. This is a way that I feel really cared for and loved. And also just being really conscientious around like I sometimes, yeah, sometimes I need to say no if it's no longer within my boundaries. And sometimes I can let myself get carried away if I am being taken care of. So, yeah, that is pretty much it. Let's see if there's anything else I wanted to say. There is, I think. So, this is how I show up. This is who I am. If this resonates with you, I'd love to see you. I'd love for you to come and experience what I have to offer. I don't work for everyone. I'm not for everyone. Um, yeah, I think of like even people that just need more structure or need more consistency or need these strict, like very strict rules. And which, if you need strict rules, we can create very strict rules, but just know that they're for you. They're unique and you're unique and I'm unique. And so that is at the heart of, I create unique experiences for people that require like communication and clarity. And yeah, and I stand up for these things that I've shared with you. So if you have any questions or wonderings or wanting to understand, please ask away. I'll do my best to respond in time. And if it works, yeah, come see me in a session and co-create with me a beautiful experience of connection. Mwah.